when his boss asked the question. It wasn't meant to be cruel. It was casual, almost teasing, the kind of thing people asked him all the time. "Why won't you date?" she said, leaning against the glass wall of her office, city lights glowing behind her like a different world. He smiled politely, the way he always did, and looked down at the floor for a second longer than necessary. No one ever noticed that pause. No one ever asked what lived inside it. Ethan Cole was known around the company as dependable, quiet, and almost painfully disciplined. He arrived early, left on time, never stayed late for drinks, never joined office gossip. People assumed he was boring. Some thought he was hiding something. A few whispered that maybe he was still hung up on an ex. None of them guessed the truth that his life revolved around a small boy with messy hair, homework struggles, and a laugh that could heal wounds Ethan never spoke about. Claire Whitmore, his boss, had never meant to cross a line. She was sharp, confident, and respected only of the youngest executives in the firm. She also happened to be observant. She noticed how Ethan never talked about his personal life, how he declined invitations with gentle excuses, how his phone wallpaper, once accidentally visible during a meeting, showed a crayon drawing of two stick figures holding hands under a crooked sun. So when she asked the question, she expected a light answer, a joke, a deflection. Instead, Ethan inhaled slowly, as if steadying himself against a wave that had been waiting years to crash. "I don't date," he said quietly, "because my son already lost his mother." The room seemed to shrink. Claire straightened, her playful tone disappearing instantly. Ethan kept going, his voice calm but heavy, like each word had weight. "My wife died 4 years ago. Cancer. Fast, unfair, the kind that doesn't give you time to say everything you should have said." He swallowed. "My son was 3. He still asks questions I don't know how to answer." Claire didn't interrupt. She couldn't. "I promised him," Ethan continued, "that no one would ever come into our lives unless they were permanent. I won't let him get attached to someone who might leave. I won't make him feel abandoned twice." Silence filled the office. Not awkward silence. Reverent silence. Claire felt something shift inside her chest. She'd built her career on control of her decisions, outcomes, emotions. But in that moment, she realized how little she understood about strength. Ethan wasn't guarded because he was afraid of love. He was guarded because he loved too deeply. "I'm sorry," she said softly. It felt inadequate, but it was all she had. Ethan nodded. "Most people are. You didn't do anything wrong." From that day on, something changed between them, not romantically. Not yet. It was respect, a quiet understanding. Claire stopped asking personal questions, but she started noticing the small things. How Ethan lit up when his son called. How he rushed out exactly at 5 every day. How exhaustion sometimes lived behind his eyes. Weeks passed, then months. One evening, a sudden storm flooded the city streets, knocking out power across several blocks including Ethan's apartment building. He panicked. His son was home alone with a babysitter who had already called. Frantic, without thinking, Claire grabbed her coat. "I'll drive you," she said. A Saturday in traffic, rain pounding the windshield, tension thickened the air. When they finally reached the apartment, Claire stayed back, not intruding, watching as Ethan checked on his son, wrapped him in a blanket, whispered reassurances only a father could give. Later, as they stood in the dim hallway lit by emergency lights, his son tugged on Ethan's sleeve and pointed at Claire. "Is she sane?" the boy asked. Ethan frowned. Claire knelt down to his level. "Only if it's okay with you," she said gently. The boy studied her, then nodded. "You look kind." That night, something unspoken formed. Not a promise, not love, but possibility. Claire didn't rush him after that. She didn't push, didn't flirt, didn't demand space in his life. She simply showed up consistently, quietly. She helped with school projects, listened to bedtime stories, learned how to make grilled cheese the way his son liked it. Ethan watched her with disbelief, slowly turning into trust. And one evening, after his son fell asleep between them on the couch, Ethan finally admitted what he'd been afraid to say out loud. "I think I'm ready to try," he whispered. Claire didn't answer right away. She just held his hand, warm and steady, proving she wasn't going anywhere. A year later, his son walked down a small garden aisle, tossing petals, grinning from ear to ear. Ethan stood beside Claire, no longer afraid of losing what he had because he'd found someone who chose them both, every single day. And for the first time since his promise, Ethan realized something beautiful. Loving again didn't break it. It fulfilled it.